get started. Okay, well, okay, go on.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. You have a
I'm gonna
question
interview
for us.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we would like it.
Okay.
It's actually funny.
Um,
We kind of got started.
mhm,
Sorry to just answer your question real fast. Me and Chanel,
mhm,
what was we were like talking one day about fan fiction for like a long time.
Yeah.
mhm.
And we're like, oh, we should talk about this. People
Hmm.
obviously want to hear our thoughts on
Yeah.
Yeah.
fan fiction.
Fan
Hmm.
So
fiction,
then,
yeah. So we started talking about fan fiction and then we loved books so much. You started talking to
mhm.
Stacy and we were just like, yeah, we loved these books and recommending each other books that we liked and yeah, it just kept growing from there and we were like, it would be cool if we could interview this author and
Mhm.
this person and
Mhm.
like some artists for different books and stuff. And so yeah, now we've just
What's
been
fan fiction?
like like on websites it
Mhm.
is people who write like I guess essentially spin-offs
Yeah.
Mhm.
of works of fiction. So it's like they like to write their own ending or change
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's
yes,
interesting. That's
characters
interesting.
Mhm.
that like
Oh, okay.
romantically would go together and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were like big into like reading like Star Wars fan fiction, like Harry Potter fan fiction, stuff like that. And then it kind of grew from
Twilight,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we're like, well, we really like talking about books too. And so we focus more on that now. When we first started the podcast, we did a lot of fan fiction though.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to look
Hmm.
that up. I've heard it, but I didn't really know what it was. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
not really very much in the mainstream of things, you know.
To be fair,
I'm very much
oh,
on the fringes. Okay.
to be fair, it's kind of on the fringes too. I think it's more popular now, but it
Mm,
is very much like a
A
niche thing,
niche,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for
Hmm.
sure, for sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's getting popular.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead. I didn't know Stacy
Okay.
if you're
Yeah.
introducing her. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Hey, nerds. Today we are so honored to welcome Maxine Rosaler, award-winning author.
Rosaler. It's
Rosaler.
Rosaler.
Dang
No one ever
it.
gets it back. I mean, my last interview, I said it's Rosaler, and he said Rossler. So there you go.
No, you
Just
have
think
to
of
know.
Rose and Holler. Okay.
Rose Holler. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's like a running joke that I always mess up the intros, and then I'm always like, Ashley, please cut that out when I mess up this intro 3 times. And then she's like, okay, I will definitely. And then I'll listen to the episode and she just leaves it all in. So it's just me continuously messing up all these author intros, names,
Oh,
authors'
okay.
names, titles of
Well,
books.
I guess she's trying to sabotage you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Take two.
Take two. Yeah. Okay.
Hey nerds, today we are so honored to welcome Maxine
Rosaler.
Rosaler.
Rose Holler.
Rose Holler,
Okay.
award-winning
Rosaler. Okay. Rose and
oh,
Aller. Aller.
Rose
What's
and
Aller?
Aller.
I don't know. Is Aller a word? I don't know. Okay. Okay.
Actually, this is better. This is better.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Award-winning author of Queen for a Day, a novel and stories, and The Missing Kidney and Other Stories. Maxine's work is raw, witty, and deeply human, exploring motherhood, autism, identity, and everyday chaos of New York life. She's been featured in the New York Times Book Review and received an NYFA fellowship, and her writing has touched so many readers. We are so excited to dive into her books, her process, and all the stories behind her stories.
Yeah.
Welcome. Welcome.
Yay.
Okay. Hi there, girls. You can
So
call.
glad you could join us, even though I
Okay.
messed your name up 6 times in a row, even though you kept telling me how to say it.
Okay. That's the way life is, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep on going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess to kind of start it off, I would want to know like what's the first thing that kind of inspired you to start writing? Like what's kind of your backstory, I guess.
Well, I can tell you that I wrote my first novel when I was in third grade, my first story when I was in third grade, okay? But then I read it to my parents and they guessed the ending, and I was so humiliated that it wasn't until a very long time afterwards that I started writing. And I can say that for years, stories were running around in my head. And I always wanted to write them down, but I never did. And then finally, when I was 32 years old, I I don't know what happened, but I just sat down and started writing my first short story.
Mm,
And lots of times I would look at on these times as with deep regret that I could have been writing all that time. However, I had been writing for a living all that time. So I really developed my craft. Like I really became like an expert at, I really know how to write, like form
mhm.
sentences and paragraphs, etc. Right. And as soon as I sat down to write, I had my voice. So maybe it wasn't so terrible to wait that long, although I'm
Yeah.
sure that there were a lot of stories that are completely lost.
Hmm.
So my first story was about a friend of mine. And I never, that was not a successful story. But then my second story was, and then from then on, every story was a completed work of fiction. And I
Mhm.
can say that around this time, it's kind of like, what can I say? I met my husband, who I knew from college, and we ran into each other, and he was a writer, and I had just finished my first short story, and he was reading it with some trepidation because he said, "Oh God, what the hell am I gonna say? Because it's not gonna be any good." Um, and he read it and he loved it. And so from then on, he's been my biggest fan, my biggest
Mm.
supporter, and it's really all I ever needed to really keep on going on.
Oh, that's
That's
incredible.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, isn't
that's
that
super cool.
beautiful?
It
Yeah,
is
I love
beautiful,
it.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cool. What inspired you to kind of center your stories around mothers of autistic children
Well,
specifically?
that was my first book,
Hmm.
okay? And it was
Mhm.
a novel, okay? I'd already written this book, by the way.
Hmm.
I'd already written this book. But the publisher wanted to publish this book first, okay?
Okay.
My story about and so I am the mother of a child with autism.
Mhm.
And so I naturally had to write about this experience, being a writer. And so that's that's how the book came into being. I just had to write about it. And so that's what I did. And so basically, I wrote about myself and other mothers. And
Mhm.
it's a rather dark and comic book, but
Mhm.
also tragic book. So it's a tragic story, but it's funny because whenever I write, I have to incorporate both the darkness of life, the sadness, the tragedy with the comic and the absurd. So
Mhm.
that's my approach to writing. In fact, one of the reasons I'm such a bad reader is I'm always looking for that combination. And if I don't get that
Mhm.
combination, I just kind of can't read it. It's bad.
Hmm.
I'm very
Yeah.
limited that way.
Yeah, for sure. It balances out, helps to balance out.
Mhm.
Mm.
Do you feel like it was kind of like cathartic to write about it in a way?
I don't believe it's cathartic to write about pain, necessarily. I don't think it is, but I think it's sort of, I can say that one story I wrote, it's called The Story of Annie Sullivan, okay?
Mhm.
And that was based on, all these stories are based on true experiences, but with every fiction writer who uses his or her own life, you always fictionalize certain elements of it, but at the core of it, it's me and it's my story.
Mhm.
And so I could say the only one that was kind of cathartic, not exactly cathartic, I would say I got some of my own back, because it was about this advocate I'd hired who screwed me royally. She
Mhm.
screwed me out of like $80,000 that of loans, right?
Mhm.
And she treated me so badly. And so writing about her was kind of like my revenge. It wasn't exactly my
Yeah.
revenge, but it was kind of like at least getting that story out.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
in the writing of it, I was hated her so much, and I still hate her. Um, I had to go and interview some other mother, someone else, because this woman had a child with a disability. So I had to give her sort of like a good side, because you can never write a character who's all bad. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I wrote that story. So I would say that of all the stories in that book, that was the one that I could sort of say was quasi cathartic.
Mhm.
The first story in that book also, it's another betrayal story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where before my son was diagnosed with autism, my husband and I were going to see a therapist, because we worried about our daughter. But she was okay then. And then we were worried about our son. But this guy, this idiot, said there was nothing wrong with our son. So that story, I kind of, so I sort of expose that. So some of the stories are sort of exposés, kind of, because I'm sort of exposing the incredible negligence of the school system and the cruelty of people who are supposed to help people
Mm-hmm.
with all, children with autism, and advocate for the parents. Like
Mhm.
everything else, and God knows we know it now, um, there's a lot of corruption and there's a lot of insensitivity. And so my book really does have a lot of that in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I write about the mothers who were very flawed characters, and I'm a very flawed character in
Mm-hmm.
that book, and I am a very flawed character. Aren't we all, right?
Yes, aren't
Um,
we all?
and so
Mm-hmm.
I actually enjoy writing about my flaws. Sometimes I even make myself worse than I really am. At least my husband says that. Okay.
So getting all those stories out there, have you had good reactions from parents and stuff who read it and can relate to
Oh
those
yeah, I've
stories?
had
Yeah.
wonderful reactions. People
Mm-hmm.
really love that book. They love it. The
Mm-hmm.
parents really love it. And I didn't really think, I wasn't so sure that they would love it, because I have to
Mm-hmm.
say that I really don't really like reading about autism
Yeah.
or the parents, but I wrote such a realistic book. I didn't
Yeah.
candy coat it at all. And so that's why the mothers loved it. They really loved it. Um, and and that was so gratifying for me. And when I found out that it was going to be published, my first thought really wasn't that, oh, great, I'm finally getting a, book of fiction published. It
Mm-hmm.
was really about the mothers that I really felt like I was speaking for them. So
Yeah.
that was very gratifying.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
super.
that's cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very cool. And good, like, yeah, way to connect. And yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so for your other book, The Missing Kidney and Other Stories,
Mhm.
how did that kind of come together and get like where was your
Well,
inspiration for
I've
that?
been writing those stories for 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Little chickadees.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're all, how do the stories come to me? Okay. I can tell you that some of them are very autobiographical. The title story, The Missing Kidney, is um sort of a coming of age story. And it's also a love story. Um, Ed Milk is a story about a time when I had this really crazy idea that I was going to do something to get out of having to make money, and so it was this terrible misbegotten enterprise I got involved in. But and that was a very painful experience. But the way I dealt with that experience was turning the main character, not me, but Ed Milk, into a kind of cartoon character. Like I really made him into a kind of absurdity. And so that was very redemptive for me. So sometimes I do redeem my most painful experiences, sometimes by speaking about them directly, and really getting into the pain of it, and getting in there. And sometimes I just turn my enemies into clowns. Not that I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of enemies, but sometimes, but certainly I do encounter people that are so unfair and bad.
Mhm.
And so how do I deal with them? Either I turn them into clowns or I really expose them for who they are. So that's
Mhm.
what I do. And then every now and then I come up with a story that's just completely invented. Um, which is unusual, which I don't do very often. And those stories actually the ones that are easiest for me to write,
Hmm.
ironically enough, because one thinks usually if you're an autobiographical writer, oh, you just write down your life. It's very hard. It's not easy. But like the
Mhm.
baby, for example, came about because I saw there was this baby who was like petting his cheek because the baby had been adopted, and so that's what he'd learned when he was in the orphanage. So I
Mhm.
wrote a whole story around that baby. The baby was like a main character in the story.
Mhm.
Um, and I'd say that some of my funnest stories, the stories that are most fun, are the ones that I just make up.
Mhm.
And like Man Crouched on the Sidewalk Weeping, that's just making fun of a guy who's mourning the suicide of his girlfriend, but he's making such a
Uh-huh.
spectacle of himself,
Mhm.
and sort of like attracting all these onlookers that it was just kind of funny. So I make fun of people, but I'm ultimately on the side of the good and the truth
Yeah.
in my writing. So um that's really, at the heart of my writing is there's a belief that goodness reigns supreme,
Mhm.
which isn't true, of course, but especially
But
now.
we can hope that,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Seriously.
So you kind of already answered this. So do you find is it more difficult than to write the stories that are inspired about your life than like straight fictional ones then?
Oh, yes, definitely. It definitely
Okay.
is, no doubt
Mm.
about it. Like for right now, for example, I'm finishing up two novels, and I'm
Mhm.
really almost done with both of them. And these novels have been very long time in the process. And one of the novels was based on this relationship I had with this older man, and I never could wrap my mind around what the reality of it was, right? And it
Mhm.
always made me a little nauseous. So I couldn't really get a handle on it enough to write about it in any way that really worked. And it took me a long time. So I had to really understand what was happening in that relationship, what was happening with me, what was he really like,
Mm.
before I could really write it with any to make it work. And finally, and it took me decades to do this,
Mhm.
many times I said, "Oh God, I don't want to write this anymore. Just let me just not deal with it." But I'd put in so much time already that
Mhm.
I just had to do it. And that novel actually is based on the story Hospitality. It's sort of the character in that story. This hospitality story is about a young woman who's involved with an older man, and
Mhm.
the older man is kind of like a hapless, kind of like not such a great character. And so in that story, I really painted him very he was an unpleasant character. But then when I
Mhm.
wrote the novel, I had to somehow give him more because for me to write a whole novel about this character, I couldn't be nauseous about him.
Yeah. Was it difficult to like give him more like quality, like better qualities, I guess, than
It was very, very hard,
yeah.
really hard. It was a huge struggle.
Mhm.
And I told, lots of times I just wanted to give up. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it because it was so hard. It's a complicated story
Mhm.
because it wasn't just him, although he wasn't like my kind of guy, right? He wasn't smart enough, he
Mhm.
wasn't funny enough, he wasn't authentic enough, right? And I really go
Yeah.
for authenticity in people and real humor and real intelligence, right?
Mhm.
But I built the story around what happened with him was he had he crippled his son. He was in a car accident and his son and his son ended up being a paraplegic. And so that's what the novel sort of centered around. And so in the course of sort of finding him in the novel, I had to get more into the tragedy of this to really bring out his authenticity and to see that a lot of what he was doing was masking his true feelings. And so so finally I accomplished it, but it really wasn't easy. It was so hard.
Hmm.
And lots of times I just wished I wish I just had never started it.
Did you feel like since you started it, you had to finish it since so much time had been put into getting it done?
Yes, and
Mhm.
it was funny because this friend of mine, my friend Giselle, very close friend of mine, and I'm going to imitate her now. Maxine, you're such a wonderful short story writer. Why are you bother writing a novel? Because I
Uh-huh.
really, short stories is really my medium, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was so into it, and that's the way I am. I just have to finish things and just get justice and
Mm-hmm.
make things right. And so it was very hard, and it was really hard, and it was a very, very painful. It's the most painful project I've ever embarked
Wow.
on, and I think it's finished.
Oh, nice.
If
Nice.
any of you
Yeah.
want to read the draft, let me know and give me feedback.
Yes, I was going to say yes. I want
Would
to.
you?
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
really?
No, seriously. Yeah. I would
Oh,
love
great,
to.
because I'm sending
Yeah.
it out now to sort of like get feedback.
We're
Oh,
like
And I
beta
okay.
want
reading.
Yeah.
criticism. I don't want compliments. I want
Okay.
criticism.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
It's so
What
exciting.
Thank you.
what would you
Really?
say is like
Who would have
your
thought? Okay.
what would you say is like your writing routine, or I guess process? Like, do you specifically write like in the morning, at night,
Okay,
with
well,
music?
okay, I'm in a real transition period now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First of all, I'm in the middle of a big depression. Okay.
Mm,
Oh
Because
God.
of something
Yeah.
that happened in my life, and I'm just not in a good state of mind for writing. Okay.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but my usual routine is to write all the time, every single day, nonstop. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's my son. So I have my son is 33 years old, and could you get the cough out of this? Out of this,
Mm-hmm.
just cut it out, okay?
Yeah.
But
She'll edit it.
so I have a 33-year-old son, and I've developed a program for him. And it was very, very time consuming. So it's basically
Mm-hmm.
my life consisted of writing and working on his program, writing and working on his program. I mean, I must have hired like over 300 people to work with him. My son is very smart. He has a degree in biochemistry from
Mm-hmm.
City College, but he's very socially backward. So
mm,
it's a very challenging job. So anyway, so then I don't know what got to me, but all of a sudden, and I don't really know what it was. I'm trying to think, um, is all of a sudden I decided, my God, Maxine, all you ever do is write.
Mm-hmm.
You should live a little, So now
Yeah.
I'm trying to, so that's kind of like, I'm kind of thinking like maybe balancing my life a little bit, but I have to really figure out how to do that. And I really don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying writing is my greatest joy.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's really just about my only source of peace.
mm,
Um, just about certainly my major source of peace,
Mm-hmm.
and my major source of pleasure. Now, of course, it can be very painful
Mm-hmm.
when you just don't know exactly what you want to say, where you just feel like just tearing your brains out of your skull, right? It's just horrible. And it's
Yeah.
very, very painful. Now, that hadn't happened to me in a long time. And then it sort of started happening to me with this novel. And then the other novel I'm working on, because the other novel I'm working on is a family novel. And it's really about my family, but I have to sort of be
Mm-hmm.
careful about not hurting anyone's feelings. So I'm getting to truth, but
Mm-hmm.
I have to balance it out. So that's a balancing act.
mhm.
Yeah. I feel like that would be so hard like, especially writing about your family, to keep it so honest, but not hurt people's feelings at the same time. Because sometimes truthful things can hurt, you know? That would be a hard
Oh
balance.
yeah, well, like in Queen for a Day, for example, I wrote about three women, three mothers, right? One of
Mm-hmm.
them was just a despicable character. I didn't care what she thought, right? And I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
protect her at all. The two others I did write, I did protect them, but
Mm-hmm.
they hated me anyway for what I wrote. I mean,
Oh,
I kept out all these
Oh.
great details because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to hurt them, but that didn't work. So I don't know. Would I want people to write about me? I don't think so. Except my husband
mhm.
writes about me all the time, and I really like that. I mean, he does a really good job on me. Not that he writes about me in a you know, not that he idolizes me, but
Mm-hmm.
it's realistic. So I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very cool.
I don't know how I'd feel if someone wrote about me. I'd be real nervous, I think, how I would come across.
Yeah, well, you know, I can say that lots of times I mean, like like for example, like one of the stories in my book is called The Fog Man, right? And that's what I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to name the book, but the publisher wanted to call it The Missing Kidney, right? And
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
that was about a friend of mine, and I interviewed her at length about her mother, and you know, I wrote it as a tribute to her love for her mother,
Mm-hmm.
and she loved that story. So that was good. And I didn't, you know, I wrote, you know, it was a very honest portrayal, but nevertheless, we weren't friends anymore, and then she tried to get the book banned because of the stories. That's a whole other story.
Oh
I don't want to
no.
go into that.
I
yeah.
love the lore of these stories. They're great.
Yeah, really, like, so, you know,
At
I
least the
mean,
initial reaction was good.
yeah, like
Yeah.
she loved that story, and you know, I loved her. We were very close friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then something happened and we just weren't friends anymore. And so, you know, and she said, Max, that's what she always called me, you know me better than you know I know myself, right? But then,
Mm-hmm.
you know, once someone's not your friend anymore, I guess they change their minds about everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gosh, crazy.
Losing friendships is so painful. I can relate. Yeah. When you lose a
Yeah,
really
it
close
really
friend.
is. I
Mhm.
mean,
It
it was,
truly is. I don't think it gets talked about enough. I know everyone talks about like when you lose a partner or something, you like divorce or break up, but friendship breakups, I mean, sometimes you share your soul more with, I know I do with my friends. So,
oh, sure. Yeah. But, you know, this was my decision because
hmm
she just hurt me too many times.
Mm-hmm.
And Um, I've been rejected by people, and that's kind
hmm
of astonishing. It doesn't happen very often, but this last year it's happened quite a bit. It's weird. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. They could be inspiration for your next short
hmm
story, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
friendship,
Well,
you know?
sometimes, you know, you have to get past the pain in order to
Yeah.
write about something. And
Yes, yes.
sometimes the
Yeah.
pain is just too raw.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
And like
you have to
Stacy
really
said, friendship
process it and
breakups, yeah.
yeah, and really get over it. Or I don't
Yes.
know if any you don't necessarily get over things, but somehow you get some sort of distance from it. And in order to
Hmm.
write about anything, you have to have distance and perspective.
hmm
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like time. Time.
And more
Yeah.
of like being able to kind of live beside the pain versus like living inside of it all the time. That's how I
Yeah.
always think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to sort of like see it from the outside. That's right, just like what you
hmm
were saying.
hmm
Although I know that when I'm writing about a very painful experience, like for example, I wrote a story, this is going to be in my collection, it's about the death of my father.
Mm,
And you know, I'm writing and I'm weeping and I'm writing and I'm weeping, and that kind of weeping is kind of cathartic. You know, it is
hmm
cathartic, especially
mhm.
when you're turning pain into art,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
art is such a redemptive thing. You know, you
Mhm.
really
hmm
redeem your life. You know, writers are so lucky. I consider myself very lucky to be a writer, to be able to write. I think a lot
Mhm.
of people I think most people are writers, but they can't necessarily write.
hmm
But to be able to do that, then you're able to live your life many times over
Mhm.
and you're able to look at your life from all sorts of different perspectives, and you're able to celebrate your life and also condemn yourself for all the
Mm.
get into all the regrets. So it's a never ending process of living your life over and over and over again.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you that sometimes, like, I'd say that, like, all the stories in this collection, I was happy with my life, right?
Mhm.
And now all of a sudden, I guess because I'm so depressed, all of a
Mhm.
sudden my life just seems like a complete and utter waste. Okay.
Oh
So that's how
no.
I'm looking at my life now. Everything is negative now.
Oh
But
Yeah.
no.
when I was writing these stories, I was full of joy, and even though there was a lot of pain in it, I was very happy.
Are you
Mm.
able to like look back at these stories now and like remember, like you said, like the happiness and the good parts of it? Like, can you, like you said, look back on it from the outside and appreciate it?
Oh, my stories, sure. I
Mhm.
certainly do. And sometimes I just can't believe it, especially now that I'm so, in such a bad state of mind and not really
Mhm.
writing well. I'm looking at these stories. I said, I can't believe that I wrote these stories, right?
Mhm.
Especially the ones I
Mhm.
made up. The
Mhm.
ones I made up were so much fun.
Mhm.
And so I really enjoyed, like, there's the girl from Texas, like, that story was just it was so great because I just like I had so much fun with it. It was about, I made up that I was breaking it with my husband, and then I see this really crazy girl, and somehow I integrate the crazy girl in with this novel that I'm copy editing, and with the breakup of this woman's husband. I create a fictional character for myself, right?
Mhm.
And it's funny. I was just remembering. I never really quite got this, but I thought it was a really great thing to say. A friend of mine, actually, it was my husband's old girlfriend. She said my stories were like coleslaw, which I thought it was such an interesting. I never told that to
Mhm.
anyone, but it's because everything is sort of like meshed together, right? Somehow
Hmm.
I managed to go from point A to point B to point C and then go back. So I'm constantly going back, and then um it's kind of like a conversation with a writer, right? You
Mhm.
talk to a writer and you start off on one subject, right? And then you go off on all kinds of tangents. You can be speaking for 2 hours and you're off on all sorts of tangents. And by the end of the conversation, you're back to where you started. So
Mhm.
that's kind of like, it's kind of like a recapitulation of what writing is like.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Coleslaw.
I was like, I wonder where this is going, but I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just going back right back to the start.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, what have we been talking about this whole time? Um, okay, so how are you balancing? Because you said you're working on like two different novels right now. One is
Hmm.
finishing up, but you're still working on another. How do you balance that writing? And you said you're still kind of in this slump as well. Um,
Well, it's very difficult because
Yeah.
I don't really understand it. I don't know what's going on with me.
mhm,
Mhm.
Is it just because I'm depressed now and I can't write?
Mhm.
Or am I somehow processing something and then something's going to come out of it? I really don't know because
mhm,
this is the longest period of time I've ever gone without writing. Because usually I write every single day, and I know I have I have lots of things drafted, but for some reason I'm just not really sitting down and writing, and I don't know why that is.
mhm,
And I really writing is really, again, that's how I'm happy.
Mhm.
And I know if I were writing now, I would be able to get past this depression
Mhm.
and manage to get past it and be happy.
mhm,
But I'm not, and so I don't know why that is. I think maybe if I went on to write something else, and that's one thing I am thinking of, because again, I'm sort of like I'm done with the first novel, which is called Blame It on My Youth. which you're going to read and give me
Mhm.
feedback on.
Yes.
And the other one is my family novel. And I just have to sort of write about something that it's a touchy subject. And I think that's why I'm having so much trouble with it, because I don't want to hurt someone's feelings, but I
Mhm.
have to include I'm speaking very circumlocutiously, obviously, but
Mhm.
I have to sort of realize how to approach it, and not to be able to speak the straight truth is hard for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, because usually I do, I'm not usually, I don't censor myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I censor eventually, like if I finish writing, like I wrote an essay, for example,
Mhm.
about someone, right? And it was a great essay. But then, and I can't even tell you what it was about, okay? But then my brother told me, oh, if you publish this essay, it's going to hurt this person's feelings so much. And the chances of her seeing it were so slim, but I had to withdraw it because I
Mhm.
couldn't hurt her
That's
feelings.
rough. Yeah.
So, so I forget who was telling me that. Oh, my friend Sarah, what was she? She's a writer. Um, um, oh, she was telling me someone said something about writers being the cruelest. They're so cruel, right?
Mhm.
But I can't think of the quote right now, but
Oh.
unfortunately, okay. But you have to be, sometimes some writers are ruthless. I know that John
Mhm.
Updike's family all hated him.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, like, is it really that writers are so ruthless, or is it because sometimes people just never speak their truths, and these people who are authors, writers get to express these feelings about people in a public way, like get it out. And so then it just seems so harsh because maybe there's a lot of unsaid things for people who don't have that outlet, you know?
Well, that's
Mhm.
very true. And I think
Mhm.
that's what writing is all about, is
Mhm.
truth. It's finding your truth,
Mhm.
and then the truth of your characters. And then sometimes the truth of your characters are based on people and then you're getting to their truths. And some
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
just don't want to
Yeah.
face their truths.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that, for me as a writer, that's what it's all about, is truth. And that's why when it comes to censoring myself, that does
Yeah.
not sit well with me at all. But
Mhm.
I do have to balance that out. Like I did have to withdraw that from publication, because
Mhm.
even there was like a slight chance of hurting this woman's feelings, I just couldn't do it.
Mhm. Yeah.
But when the writing of this novel, the problem I'm having with this particular chapter is I can't even write it, um, because I feel so conflicted about hurting my sister's feelings, right? It's about my twin
Mhm.
sister. And I know there are certain things she doesn't mind me writing about. She wouldn't mind
Mhm.
me writing about, but this thing she wouldn't want. But it's an important part of the novel, so I have to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I didn't know you were a twin. Me and Ashley are twins.
Oh, really?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, oh, really? I'm an identical twin.
So are
Yeah.
we. Yeah. So are
No.
we. Mhm.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to kind of tell,
She's like, you don't look identical.
but we are.
Oh, so
Mhm.
what was that like? I'm so interested in
Yeah.
hearing that. What
It
was that
is. Yeah.
like for you?
Um,
Oh no.
I mean,
Uh,
I
I
mean,
guess
good.
you have a great relationship because you work
Yeah.
together
We
and
really do.
Yeah.
We're it's like I feel like we're like an old married couple sometimes. Even when we were kids, we know so much about each other and our feelings that there's such a deep love, but also like in the same token, I guess we can hurt each other so quickly because we know each other so well. So when we were kids, it was kind of hard. We fought a lot, but we wouldn't let anybody else be mean to each other, if that makes sense.
that's so interesting. So that's so funny. Well, see, my identical twin, she was she fell off the monkey bars when she was 5, so she was brain damaged.
Mm.
Not brain damaged to the point of not being able to go to college or being smart,
Yeah.
but she suffered very serious depressions. And so
Mhm.
I was kind of like her caretaker from the age of 5. So that's a lot about what my novel's about. So my identical twin experience was very different
Yeah.
Yeah.
from the usual identical twin experience.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very complicated. So I
Yeah.
never really even felt so much like a twin. I felt more like a mother.
Yeah, mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. I was gonna say because it feels like having, at least with me and Ashley, like a built-in like best friend, like this partner almost, versus I can't imagine it being a mother-daughter relationship. That would
Yeah.
really be
Yeah,
difficult.
no, it was very difficult. And I think, I'd say a lot of my stories, I really do like writing about denial,
Mm-hmm.
because I think a lot of people are in denial.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've been in denial about how painful that was for me
Mhm.
until relatively recently. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I'm dealing with now, I guess, in terms of my depression, right?
Yeah.
And also in the novel, right? So, but I mean, yeah, so it's not like, oh, wow, you're twins, isn't that great? Blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. I mean, people always mistake for each other on the street, right? And
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. But yeah, it's very complicated, really
Yeah.
Yeah.
complicated. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
complicated. Wow.
But, good for
Mm-hmm.
you. I'm happy for you to have that. It's nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, I think any like really good relationships you have with people takes work too. Like we've always been close, but like we went through a period where we like saw a therapist together to like really help how we communicate with each other. And
Yeah.
I think difficult things when you work on them can lead to like better relationships you can have. So
Well, okay, who is the dominant twin? There's always a dominant twin.
probably Ashley, I would think, is the
Oh,
dominant
you don't
twin.
know. You don't
No,
know.
I think it's her. I think Ashley is. Yeah.
I would say, what do you think, Chanel? I would think it would be me too,
Yeah,
but
it's Ashley.
It's Ashley. Yeah, it's Ashley. Yeah. Hmm.
But isn't
Were
that
you the?
interesting? It always happens. Isn't that
Hmm.
interesting?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So were you? Do you think that you? So do you think you were default the dominant twin since you had to take on this caretaker role with your sister?
Oh, yes, for
Yeah.
sure, for
Hmm.
sure.
Mhm.
And I was totally the dominant twin.
Hmm.
I was the
Mhm.
leader, and I
Hmm.
was the caretaker. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it really wasn't until, relatively recently that I realized what a toll it took on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where denial comes in,
Yeah.
my own denial. I mean, I haven't,
Hmm.
I mean, might be interesting to write about, like a story about that level of denial. I don't think I'm going to write about that in the novel. The novel's
Yeah.
basically almost finished too. I'll send that to you when I'm done with it too.
Yes. Hmm.
Actually,
Please.
I'll send you a story that I wrote. It's just because you're twins, right?
Hmm.
And I'll just send it to you, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, that's
So,
so
yeah.
interesting. Okay, well, we can wrap this up. This has been so great. We do a little kudos at the end, which is just us giving thanks, and we just go around and say thank you. So,
Hmm.
Stacy, if you want to start, and then
Yeah.
we can also get where we can find all of your amazing books at the
Yeah.
end, Maxine.
Okay,
So yeah,
thank
go ahead,
you. Thank
Stace.
you. Okay.
So I want to say first, thank you for taking the time to let us interview you. It's been really interesting, and I'm excited to check out this book that you're going to send us.
Oh yeah, I
Mhm.
really, I mean, if you like it, tell me, yeah, but I don't,
Yeah.
but I really want, does it work? Okay. It's been
Okay.
through a lot
Yeah.
of drafts.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
don't pull your punches.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll try
I'm
not to.
in the
Okay.
same
No,
vein,
don't try not to,
Maxine.
just don't.
Just don't. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Maxine, for taking time out of your day, your night,
Okay.
and hanging with us, chatting with us.
Mhm.
It's been great.
Yeah,
It's a
it's so
pleasure. It's a pleasure. I love, I don't even seem depressed now, right? But
Yeah.
but it's like, it's fun talking to, it's so nice. What a cute little title you have, Fiction Fanatics. It's very
Oh
cute.
yeah, that's our little
sign. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, you know, I really, oh wait, I think you didn't say your little thank
Me,
you shit, right?
yeah, it's for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
it's for
you.
you, Maxine. This has been amazing, and your writing is just so honest, and I'm just like so excited to see what's next. So,
Okay,
yeah.
well, I'm gonna send you my little the twin
Hmm.
story. You know, I'm telling you a lot of uh, it was published in Tekken, they went out of business.
Mhm.
Another, you know, Glimmer Train went out of business. It's another place that I was published. You know, all these places are going out of business. Scary,
Oh
but
wow.
let's
It
keep on
yeah.
doing it. Let's keep on writing and reading, and
Mhm.
let's not give in to the times, to the cynicism of the times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's definitely challenging times are happening right now. So, and
It's
I think it's even
horrifying,
it is
horrifying.
horrifying, and it makes a lot of books.
Where do you live?
The
We live in
Midwest.
We're
Indiana,
in,
the
yeah,
Midwest.
Indianapolis.
Oh, a
So
Midwest.
even more challenging if you can imagine sometimes. It's
Yeah,
not
well, I
great.
went on the march yesterday, and
Yes,
We
yeah.
had a very big turnout in
we
Indianapolis,
did.
though.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, but
for us, anyways.
it's not funny. It's just there's nothing
No.
funny about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Crazy.
it's really a pleasure
Yes.
talking to you. Thank you so much. And
Yes. Thank you so much.
you cheered me up. And
Oh,
I'm gonna send
yeah.
you, I'm sending you a draft of my novel. Okay.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And
Okay.
Yeah.
where can we get your novel, your short stories? Where can people
Oh,
find
okay.
them?
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
this is a couple of things. Okay, first of all, it's on Amazon, but if you're against
Mhm.
Amazon, that's fine. It's all over the place.
Okay.
And then it's I have a Maxine Rosaler website, just maxinerosaler.com, and that has a lot of my published stories on it, along with my old interviews and new interviews. And then I have another website called the Missing Kidney Rosaler.com, and that has the links to all the books, to, you know, where you
Okay.
can get the books. But Barnes and Noble, it's all over the place. You just go on the
Okay.
internet and you know, you find it. Yeah, buy my book, one reader at a time.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
Really, I
yes.
mean, just
Mhm.
I'm telling you that some of the reactions I've gotten just from readers has been so gratifying
Mhm.
that I really, you know, it means a lot to me.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's amazing.
absolutely. Mhm.
Everyone, check it out. Check
Yep.
out Missing Kidney and Other Stories. Yay.
And
Yes.
also, Queen for a Day. And
Mhm.
I'm going to put a plug in for my husband's novel. If you ever want to interview him,
Oh, yeah.
He wrote Belcourt. It's a wonderful novel. It's an historical novel with a character actually that he based somewhat on me, right?
Mhm.
And it's a great novel. It's published by Doubleday, and it was supposed to be a bestseller, but then his editor got fired. So then it went, you know,
Oh, shit.
it
Yeah.
didn't best sell. What can I say?
Mhm.
That's the way it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks so much. And I hope you don't
Yeah.
mind me
Thank
calling you
you.
girls or chickadees.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
no, we love it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank
Okay. I'm going
you.
to send you my
Thank you.
novel right now. Okay.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Take
Bye.